So, having released the demo, now I'm focusing on building out the main story. And this is the part where my creativity really gets to kick in and I get to figure out what on earth I want to do for the rest of the story. Now, my plan at the moment is to get the full game out by December, meaning that at the time of recording, I've probably got about 5 to 6 weeks in order to go and do that. So, that's a pretty tight deadline considering that so far, I think I've spent about maybe 350 hours, or maybe like 330 hours on the game so far. And most games, I imagine, are probably going to be released with at least hitting 1,000 hours, if not 2,000 or 3,000. And obviously, with AI, I can thank it for being able to speed up the process. So now we're trying to figure out what to do in what order. Now, what I have been focusing on more so is building the spine of the story. So now that we've made Act 1 to 3, which I may adjust over time, I now want to build out Act 4 all the way to Act 10 or perhaps even 11. And so far it's just been making cutscenes, making dialogue, making fight scenes, decisions, and then making all of the new character portraits. Now, this has been quite difficult because at the end of the day, I sort of sit there wondering, well, do I really want to do this thing? Is this going to stay? And what I've learned as well is that there's always the procrastination that pops up that makes me think, oh, maybe I should sit down, I should plan this a bit more. But at the end of the day, I would much rather I built something out from start to finish, from Act 1 to Act 10, and then I can go back and I can adjust things or add things as I need to. Now, what was really cool as well is I figured out how to make much better images on ChatGPT. Where originally speaking, I'd ask it to make me an image without a background, effectively. And what would happen is that sometimes when I'd watch it getting made, I'd see it would be really good. And then once it was made, the quality would almost dim. And I actually asked the GPT why this was, and it was saying it was something to do with the rendering part. So now what I do is that I now ask it to make me an image with a background, proper cinematic look, and then I manually just get rid of the background from it. And so now I've been going through all of my characters in terms of the council members, in terms of the current characters already, and even I'm starting to go through the combat stances and just remaking them so they actually look good. Because I noticed in my demo at the moment, the characters look a little grainy, even though they should be looking quite good. So the plan at the moment is pretty simple, right? I'm just going to be continuing to go through and fleshing out the story. Because once I've got the story in place, then I'll have a more confident idea of where I want the story to go. And I've already been making changes as I come across. But then the plan is that more towards, perhaps in about a week's time, I will be looking at actually building out some of the systems. So I plan to have more of a open map system within probably Act 5 or 6, where you can go and you can visit certain territories and certain areas on the map. And you can go and gather intel, and perhaps confront some of the council members. But all of that is to come. And the idea is that each council member will have their own sort of influence bar or aggression bar. And based on how high that is, depends on the sort of the buff or the debuff that they give to, you or to themselves. So I understand it's going to be a complicated process, but it's a good thing I'm getting GPT to write all the code. So that's pretty much where we're focusing at the moment, just building out the story, because I genuinely think once I've got some of the story built, I can then look at adding sub-stories, which are more optional things, which will allow me to perhaps create multiple endings, which I think I'll really be able to enjoy. But also it just makes making the systems and stuff a lot easier as well. So if you haven't already played the demo is obviously out. This is obviously the demo, so not all the content's there, and I haven't actually, added all of the new visuals in there. But the demo is a snippet or an idea of what I currently have for the full game. So be sure to test that out if you haven't already. And with that said, I'll chat soon.